Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Here locally in the community, make sure y'all go check out New Cat Body by Jeremy Melifonwu.
Good afternoon. It is a great day to be a Lion, one pride, and this is Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. Thanks for being in the chat. Fred Peterson already. That being said, let's talk about what Dan Campbell said in the presser. He's saying there's a chance that Reeder is playing week 1. When you look at the Wednesday roundup, there was nothing other than Iffetu Melifonwu on the Lions injury report. Because Broderick Martin was already been out. No one added to it. It's just Iffetu Melifonwu. We didn't go live last night, so that's a good thing, because Tuesdays are my night off, and I took advantage of it. I want to say hello to Yoli Cruz and hello to Smokin' Dad. Yes, I am on. Yes, he's on time today. Good to see you, Yoli. Thank you, Dad, for popping in. Oh, man, what a great night. After work last night, I found a message from Mike Marsh, the Packers fan that comes on the NFL Roundtable Talks and occasionally on the NFC North and East Power Hours. Yes, tonight is the NFL Roundtable Talks with Pickens. I will be on tonight. Wednesday night is a given every week because this is when we get to do pick'ems for real football. This is when it counts. He also said more Applebee's commercials are coming, I think, LOL. That Applebee's commercial is classic. I'm sorry. Cover your mouth. You don't want them to steal your order. I loved it. But I met up with Mike Marsh after work last night, and we talked for like an hour and a half outside of his semi because he does deliveries. He was here in Flint doing a drop-off at 9 a.m. this morning. He's back on the road. Thank you, Mike. Again, it was a great conversation talking about cars we drove and everything else. We rarely talk football because we talk football when we talk here. Smoking Dad, it does happen occasionally, Fred. So I've been saying for a week now, don't be surprised if Reader plays. Ooh, I will get into that a little later. That's a good one. I like that. But right now, I want to talk about the Reader situation. He's been practicing with the team all week for the last week and a half. He was elevated from to the active roster. There's a reason for that. The medical staff cleared him, and the trainers that worked out with him the last couple weeks at camp said he looks ready to go. So he gets out there and he starts practicing with the team, and he's making a difference. So there's still a chance he may play Sunday. We will know more on Friday because that I believe it's either no Saturday 11 a.m. is when you'll get those designations for early designations. Ricky Sakat in the chat. How you doing there, Ricky Sakat? It is another great day. So NFL award projections. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think it'll be a quarterback. I think it's either going to be Keon Coleman, Malik Neighbors, or Marvin Harrison Jr. All those guys got that it factor. What you're looking for: personality, grind, grit, and determination. I think one of those three will be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. If Jared Verse is as good as advertised, or Dallas Turner, or Laiatu Latu, what if the Colts shock the world and win that division? But remember, we had a Defensive Rookie of the Year on a 7-win team in Sauce Gardner 2 years ago. So that kind of goes out the window that it's based off a team record. So even if the Bills missed the playoffs, they could get an Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, I know it hasn't happened often, but we've seen it before. We've seen a losing team have a Rookie of the Year. I don't think Braden Fiske is going to make as big of an impact as everyone hopes because he needs to develop into that style of player that Aaron Darnold was. He's not quite there yet. He has all the measurables, but he doesn't have the stats to back it up. So I wouldn't put, and other than that, it's a defensive back. You got those linemen, and then it's defensive backs. Quinyon Mitchell could be that guy. Terrion Arnold could be that guy. Hell, who knows who it'll be on the Defensive Rookie of the Year. MVPs in the top 10. It's a quarterback one. There's not going to be a defensive player. There's not going to be a wide receiver. It offensive MVP or NFL MVP. You're probably looking at Mahomes, Jackson, possibly Stroud if they do what's expected of them. Good afternoon. I'll be right back. All right, Brent, you must be getting ready to head to your break. Yeah, hell, even Goff and Love could get there. It depends on what they do with their record. We've all said that the Packers and Lions are the cream of the crop of the NFC North. We talk shit because we beat them and we finished ahead of them, but you can't say they're out of it. I don't think Caleb's going to get Offensive Rookie of the Year because that O-line isn't quite there yet. If the O-line was as solid as the rest of that roster, I would be more scared of the Bears. I hope that's a fair assessment. And it's a rookie quarterback. I don't think any of the rookie quarterbacks are going to get it because I think all of them have the chance to have a solid season out of the ones that are starting. But I don't think any of them make the waves to get up there big, if that makes sense. Offensive Offensive Player of the Year, CMC, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, if he can still manage to put up the numbers with a bad QB. I'm on Ross St. Brown. I don't think Josh Allen has the weapons to get him up for the MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think Justin Herbert does either. I'm not putting him in that conversation. And of course, you got to throw Dak in there because last year you could almost say if it wasn't for Dak, they wouldn't have had as many wins as they had last year. Because Tony Pollard broke his leg and the running game became anemic, they had to be a pass first team. And just think, we were a Derek Barnes sack away from being the number one seed. A missed Derek Barnes sack is why we lost that game. It wasn't what happened at the end of the game. That was just a contributing factor. That 98-yard touchdown, 100% is why we lost that game. To go from a possible safety to a touchdown, that's a 9-point swing you can't get back. I mean, look how many times this offseason we said it's 1A, 1B, Lions and Packers for the top of the division. Let let's be let's not we talk more crap about the Packers because we consider them more of a threat. That's the God's honest truth. They're a good team. They're well coached. We don't know if the Bears are well coached except on defense because Flus is a defensive minded coach. KOC is an offensive minded coach whose offense has not got it done with their defense being decent. So, do you put them on the same level as you do Campbell and LaFleur? I don't. We call him LaFluke because Dan Campbell's 4-2 with 3 straight wins in Lambeau. This might be the year it changes. Pat Rothwell, hey JB, good afternoon. This might be the year that we both win our home game. You just don't know. Um, they're saying now that one writer wrote that Ford Field has quite possibly become the hardest stadium to play in the NFL. And other fan bases call it cap. But the teams we played against last year didn't feel that way, especially in the playoffs. We were one of the loudest stadiums ever indoors. We set the record. We're trying to break the Chiefs record this year. Week 1 is sold out for Sunday Night Football. I'm hoping they release another set of standing room tickets because I'd like to get one. I'd like to be there. Next Monday is going to be a long show because we're going to have some post game shows to talk about. Who We're going to be doing the pick'ems tonight. Dan Leonard might not show up because we are also running a pool through our chat groups and everything else for the pick'ems. It's $10 a piece. Winner takes all on the best percentage. If there's a tie, it goes to the total points on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a fun week. I think we got 10 people in it, so that's $100 to the winner. Do it every week. Good, Will. Yes, I got your message about next week. Woodward Sports is selling a Laporta potty. A Laporta potty t-shirt. I'm going to have to get one. Matt Henry in the chat. How do I think Who am I rocking? I'm rocking Laporta Potty, baby. How do you think Jonah Jackson will hold up at center for the Rams this week? I don't. But they have a picture of a porta potty and it says La Porta Potty across it. And it literally says, just shit on your defense. That's my fantasy team name. I'm going to have to get you that shirt, Matt. Woodward Sports is selling it. I'll have to get you that shirt, send it to you. And you're going to have to rock it if you win the championship. How's that? Hatter's House 710 coming in from LA. Good morning from here in enemy territory. Go Lions. Right now, it's Laporta. Brandon Pettigrew was great just before we drafted frickin' Eric Ebum, but Laporta is going to end up being a better tight end. Whose house? Lions house, baby. You know it. So, what else you guys want to talk about? That's probably the best question you've ever asked me, Jeremy Ballrig Jr. I didn't have to give the disclaimer. I might have to get one of those Laporta Potty t-shirts for myself. Reader is trending towards playing. Right now, the only guy that's listed as out is Iffetu Melifonwu. Everybody else is slated to play. So, and Dan Campbell said that he's trending towards playing him week 1. So he could be there. We don't know. He might be in the 46 dressed. If they see something they don't like, he won't be dressed. That's what'll happen. Remember, 6 players out of that 52-man roster will not be dressed. There are 7 call-ups every week. So if he's dressed, he's playing. Oh, now that he said that, I have to put out the disclaimer. The views and opinions of Jeremy Ballrig Jr. do not reflect that of Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions or me, Smoking Jeremy B, or even Smoking Dad. I would say week 1, tomorrow's game, Ravens versus Chiefs. But you know what? The Chiefs always start slow. The defense even starts slow. They're not quite in sync yet. Uh, they just got Juju Smith-Schuster back. He's been with the team, so he knows the playbook. So he'll have a faster adjustment time. Another fantasy name, Jalen Spurts. Oh God, that's great. I'm going to say the Friday night game in Brazil. If it's played in Brazil, it might be played in Philly yet. We don't know. Both teams are flying out now, but there's a chance they may have to come back if the AQI is too high. If they do, talk about jet lag. Fly to Brazil today, and then have to fly in the morning. Handful of chub. Hey, that's almost every guy that's watched porn. But if the AQI is bad, they're going to have to fly right back to Philly. AG better have a good game plan. McVay is no joke. But that O line is a joke. I'm sorry. You got a backup left tackle, a backup right tackle, a backup left guard, a starting left guard playing center for the first time in 8 years, and a starting right guard. That's all you got. We've seen this show. There's been some fires there in the Amazon, and it's causing an air quality index issue, and it's an open air stadium. So if the AQI is at a point where they feel like it'll be a danger to play the game, breathing the air, kind of like during the Canadian smoke fires when they canceled Tigers games and New York games and everything else, there's a chance that game may come back to Philly. So that's what was written on NFL Network because Philly is the home team. So if it happens, they'll play the game in Philly. Why don't they just move it to Mexico or something closer? Dwayne King comes into the chat saying, "Good afternoon, all. Let's go, Detroit Lions. One pride, NFC North Division title. All grit, never back down. And I'll add, it takes more." Dan Campbell has told the team to take that 1 week mentality. Focus on the opponent in front of you. This is how you get to where we got last year. Focusing on the opponent in front of you. Oh, yeah, no problem. It's a massive fire in the rainforest. They're losing millions of acres. Both teams already left the Brazil. I understand that, John Dorn, but there's still a chance they may reroute them. Trace, good afternoon, sir. Sir, ma'am. Don't mind me. I'm not with it yet. I woke up late. Yeah, Dan been getting into the commercials. He is awesome. That was a great one. I love it. Vikings fans said they were showing shade at JJ McCarthy, and that wasn't said. I had a Vikings fan tried to say Dan Campbell said, "Cover your mouth. JJ might steal your signs," and that was never said in the commercial. We got Paul Jones popping in. I see he just liked the show. 10 people watching. You know, all I care about is liking and sharing. The subs will come because how I get subs is when everyone shares it. I don't I self promote more than anything, and I self promote outside of the show. I try not to beg for subs in the show like some podcasters do. That's why I've grown at the steady rate I've grown. This has been the fastest I've grown in 3 months ever. And I want to say thank you to every fan out there. Evidently, you're putting the word out there that there's somebody out here that's worth talking to, that talks to people in the chat. And thank you. Um, I want to say thank you to every podcast that's ever had me on as a guest, either by phone, video, whatever. It started with Detroit Lions on the Prowl, which rest in peace, Jim Bordeaux. Thank you to Maniac Tim. Thank you to Will Rock and Eric there with the Rocked On podcast. Thank you to Main Event Mike and Russell Wilson of the Main Event, now known as the Villain Squad. Thank you to Curtis Steele. Thank you to Scott Morganroth and his platform. There's so many. Thank you to Andrew and Logan of We Are Lions Nation for the year that I spent with them when I first got into being a regular podcaster. I learned a few things. Do I watch Durgo's Moby? I haven't watched Durgo's Moby since he did the white face thing. I would never wear the black face. I don't expect anybody to do the white face stuff. I checked out. I don't call people racist unless they start in on me. And to call me racist because I have a bad opinion to you about a quarterback you like, I'm not going to accept it. Kelly Stafford should find a backup quarterback to watch the Lions Rams game at home since she's trying to stay in LA. I'm gonna go with porn star Jimmy because he's QB3 and on the practice squad now. Studson Bennett is the backup QB that comes to Detroit. Brian, it's great to see you. That's a great comment. What up, Fred, Trace, Dwayne, and all? You guys are commenting faster than I can keep up with. Yeah, I stopped watching Durgo Moby with his 2021 awards. I just did. I want to thank Micro Mike, also known as Mike Kimber now, voice of 100.9 and Grand Rapids ESPN Radio. Been a big part of the huge show. He also does his own show now. Congrats to him. Uh, he was Lions Nation Unite. He was Chat Sports with Micro Mike. Now it's Chat Sports with the Lions. Love that guy. Great guy. He's another one that looks a lot like Aiden Hutchinson Jr., just like Keegan Eckert. Think about that, guys. We are 32 hours away from actual football being played. So what else do you want to know? Well, what else do you want to ask? Thank you, Will Vogel, for recognizing me. Do I view other channels as competition? I do not. I go and chat on Crunch Time. I chat on almost every Lions podcast I find out there. Um, if they talk crap about me, fine. Then I don't go back because I respect everybody's opinions. I don't respect people who don't respect others. That's it. I don't view channels as competition. We talk about the same team. They're not competition to me. Anybody that sees me as competition has got their own inadequacies with themselves that they find fault with, and they feel like they got to poke fun at people. I'm not one of those guys. Um, I want to say thank you to David Pike. I've been on Motor City Mania. He was a co-host of mine for a little bit, but we have differing opinions, and he's still my friend. I just dropped my phone next to my Jeep seat and couldn't fish it out. Yes, I do. I don't know what they call themselves now. Um, Von Doom's great. He just works a lot. He comes on when he can. Okay, I'll check it out. Well, no problem. October babies. I'm 10 days before you, brother. And I will be live that Wednesday for both shows. Wednesday, October 9th. Smoking Jeremy B turns 54. Brent, that fishing pole is for you. Yes, I remember Lion or Douchebaggia. Great, great person that used to comment on all the Prowls podcasts. Is Will my nephew? No, not no relation whatsoever. Gotcha. I've had a couple people that's actually been related in the chat that's talked in here before. My daughter Danielle has been on here. Um, oh, that's cool. I have spent a lifetime watching our Lions, and I plan on spending the rest of my life watching them on Sundays until I can't see anymore, and then I'll listen to them on the radio. And half the time, I watch them on TV and listen on the radio anyways, because I love the way Dan and Lomas and team does the announcing. I just do. Uh, no, unfortunately, her mother and I. If at stadium, please use your earplugs. Not protecting your ears is as smart as drinking Flint tap water. Amen, David Burnett. Good to see you in the chat. Um, my oldest son was a Lions fan. My daughter is slowly coming around. She's a bandwagoner. I'm not gonna lie. She was a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, a Patriot fan, and now she's coming around. She likes the Lions. So that is what it is. She jumps from winners. I'm predicting a Lions win. I don't expect it to be a blowout. The Rams are going to struggle though. People are saying they have a good chance to upset the 49ers in the division with O-line disarray leading up to 4 weeks into the season. They may get behind the 8 ball quick. And I'm only going to say that because they say Matt Stafford has such a quick release. Matt Stafford has this. Matt Stafford's release isn't as fast as it used to be. Right? Sometime bandwagons get on and stay on. I fell in love with the colors at 5 years old. I'm not gonna lie. It was Billy Sims karate kicking Stevie Brown that made me a Lion for life. That's it. I don't see the Rams winning. They've lost too much on defense, and they've lost too much on their O line. Right? Then again, I remember the days of KC not being good at all since winning. Well, KC was great in the '60s, then had a fall off of grace, and didn't get back to relevancy until like the end of the 2000s. And since they started going and being consistently in the playoffs, their fan base keeps growing. And now that they're winning Super Bowls and they got Taylor Swift in the suite, holy crap. They probably got one of the bigger fan bases in the world right now because of Taylor Swift. And say what you want, she added viewership. I don't see the Rams winning. Puka Nakua just started taking team reps this week. He was back at practice with trainers last week. He's still listed as questionable if he can even play. And Taylor Swift is reporting this week. That doesn't mean they win. Oh, I know. Reed left. It was Reed's time to go, though. You say what you want. Once his quarterback was gone, the wide receivers. I saw a tweet. Kelsey hired lawyers because someone found a contract saying when he has to break up with Swift. There's never a guarantee of a win. There's never, ever a guarantee of a win for any team, any given Sunday. Oh, with popularity, sponsorships happen, and I'm going to leave it at like that. Ralph Williams of RW Media says hello, everybody. He will not be able to make it tonight. Thanks for the heads up on that, Ralph. But make sure you check out his shows. He's got some very good shows. Very much Pennsylvania and his area centric type of shows. But he also does very good sports shows and some life learning shows. And some young people need that life learning. Hell, I still need life learning at sometimes right now. Patty Grimes, what's up, my brother? How are things in the Grand Blanc? The big nothing. Dale, what up, though, JB? Ah, I can see better now that I got that crap off my eyelashes and I got my glasses clean. I'm doing fantastic, sir. How are you? I'm so ready for tonight, for this week, and the NFL Roundtable talks. It's Pick'em's time. I can't wait to talk about this guy. Right. I like what Stafford did here in the past, but at the same time, when somebody says Stafford over Goff, I'm Goff over Stafford. Why? One main reason. Stafford asked to leave. Goff didn't have a choice and accepted. Yeah, the weather's fine here too. I was enjoying it. I was outside just before the show. And yes, Any Given Sunday is a great movie. Seen too many cranks in that movie, but Cameron Diaz is fire. Yes. Yes. I disagree. Stafford has to be the luckiest Super Bowl winning quarterback ever. 2 interceptions dropped that would have sealed his fate. They wouldn't have won that game. What do you mean block Quinn from drafting Herbert? That was Matt Patricia. I got you, Dale. Okay, so you said Goff said it's a lot of luck. I like in a sports movie when a player is traded, they tell the coach, "I'm coming back to stick it up your ass," but Goff lived it. I mean, think about it. Stafford shouldn't even have been in the Super Bowl if Jaquiski Tart wouldn't have looked like Eric Ebron out there. That was bread and butter basket type of catch he had that he dropped. It'd have been San Francisco that year, and I think the Bengals would have beat them. And then there was 2 dropped interceptions in that Super Bowl. He got lucky at the right time. That's it. And don't think that just getting Stafford on that team put him in the Super Bowl. It took 3 key additions mid-season to get that team into the Super Bowl. When Stafford asked to leave, he was no longer a Lion. I am a team above player. Yep, Same here, PC. I agree with you. I have always been a Lions fan, but I moved a lot. Picked up local teams as distant number twos. Retired in Missouri and root for the Chiefs when not playing the Lions. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And when you move somewhere, you almost have to adopt a team from that state. And there's certain states where that doesn't matter. I mean, Arizona, it doesn't matter. Do you call Arizona a team? Yep, basically, LA Rams defense won the Super Bowl. Wait a minute. Yeah, he had Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, Nate Burleson. Um, let's go down the list of the good players he had. He had Brandon Pettigrew, who set the record for tight ends in Detroit. Right. I'll give Stafford his praises if the Lions add him to the Ring of Honor after he hangs it up. Until then, he's an opponent. Right now, he's an opponent. It's not hating on Stafford, it's hating your enemy. And like I said, thank you to Stafford for what he did when he was here, but Goff has done more in less time than Stafford did in his entire 12 years here. And anybody who says he didn't have a roster forgets the 2014-15 season. That hands down was one of the best defenses in the NFL. And anyone that says it wasn't is delusional. He is one of the greatest Lions all time, but he's not a Lion anymore, so fuck him. That's my point is undone. I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, I love Stafford" when he's gone. But he had a fucking Lamborghini of a defense that the play calling negated versus Dallas in 2015. Oh, 100%. But Goff fits what this, say what you want. He consistently put up the same. I understand that. But you can't say that Stafford didn't have a good team around him. That's my point, Hatter's house. He's had a better defense around him. Tell me that 2014-15 defense wasn't better than anything Goff has had here. Tell me. Tell me it wasn't. They should have went to the Super Bowl that year. The play calling cost that defense in that Cowboys wild card game. They stopped running the ball and 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. He had Joe Lombardi for 1 year. Stop. That what I'm saying is that team. Stafford was sacked 32 times, almost the exact same amount that Goff was sacked last year. So I don't want to hear we had a bad O line. I don't want to hear it. We made it further with a lesser defense because of Ben Johnson and Jared Goff than we made it with Goff and Calvin Johnson. And I bet you he goes in as a Ram. Oh, I 100% agree with you there, Hatter's house. If we'd have drafted anybody but Eric Ebum, that whole draft was full of players that were good versus Eric Ebum. Goff got sacked 32 times, and 9 of them were in 3 games. We all forget this. In one season. That's my argument. Goff did more with a lesser defense around him. We had one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL. They made it all the way to the NFC Championship game because of this offense as a whole. Oh, it is what it is. Doesn't matter. In order to get to the Super Bowl, what do you have to have, Corey Patterson? Playoff wins. It all goes in succession. Focus on the team in front of you. Don't look at the prize before you take care of the task at hand. We didn't have the number one run defense. We were tied for third. Are you talking about that 2014 team? That 2014 team, that was the number one run defense in the NFL. 59 yards is what we held opponents to. I wouldn't go that far. I'd say a poor man's Alex Smith is a better analogy. Alex Smith was a great game manager, and his play would elevate the team. But he wouldn't win or lose you a game. We had Sue. You forget everything we had on that defense. We had a lot on that defense that year in 2014. Oh my God, that front seven was so imposing. I don't want to say that anybody's a system quarterback because every team has a system, and the QB that plays in it is that system's QB. So let's throw that bullshit out the window now. Can we call it what it is? Coaching failed Matt Stafford and the Lions in those 4 years. Tell me I'm wrong. And the front office. That was exactly my point. Now, if Stafford would have had this coaching staff back then, we might be talking differently. Coaching is everything, 100%. Jim Caldwell was a player's coach, but he had the motivational factor of a slug. I hated seeing him whenever anything would go wrong. He wouldn't change anything and would just look like a deer caught in headlights on the sideline. This is how he looked every time everything fell apart. How many times were we tired of seeing that? And the second time we made the playoffs in Caldwell's tenure, if if Stafford didn't do 8 heroic comeback wins, and I'm going to say he was a great comeback quarterback because he had to be. If he didn't have 8 comeback wins that year, we'd have been 1-16 instead of 9-8. Or yeah, 9-7, excuse me. Don't forget year 2 when we lost Sue Fairley and everybody else. We went 7-9 under Caldwell. I wanted him gone then. Oh, yes, you did. Caldwell was so overrated, and I've said this. He had a great regular season record, but he had a bad year in year 2. I understand that. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. Yes, it is almost that time, Davy. It is almost that time. Yeah, that game where we lost to the last place Bengals and missed the playoffs was the last straw. And I agreed. 9-7 is not good enough. But at the same time, do you remember all the NFL experts had said how great of a hire Matt Patricia was? You guys remember that? Oh, yeah, I'll mention them because it's part of our history. We went from Caldwell to Matt Patricia. Boob Quinn hired his buddy because he was considered the next up and coming guy. And W.G. Brady of ESPN wrote an article on how it was a big mistake. Yes, I am. I've been a part of the Dew Crew since 1978. Not going to change now. The rocket scientist. God, I don't want to. William G. Brady wrote an article when we hired Matt Patricia that the Lions made a mistake, that the coaching hire we should have did then was the assistant head coach of the New Orleans Saints, Dan Campbell, and all the reasons why, about how he was the interim head coach with a horrible roster in Miami when their coach was hired and got them 5 wins out of 12. Talked about, yeah, we got in a bidding war with the Giants to sign him. I wish we'd have let the Giants have him. Oh my God, yes. Anyways, how he's been learning under Sean Payton and one of the best coaches in the NFL at the time. How uh how he's a player's coach and that mentality may make a team follow him through a brick wall. He wrote all of that out, right? And this is when we hired Matt Patricia. Then, when we hired Dan Campbell, he flipped that entire article. He took and rehashed it and made it all into negatives and how it's going to be a horrible signing. When does the injury report come out? Sunday morning, 11 a.m. is the final one. I'm just saying. I'm just saying they flipped the script, and that's an ESPN beat writer about the Lions, W.G. Brady. Amen. Yes, Matt Patricia looked like Captain Lou Albano, minus the rubber bands. And what has he done since, Dale? Is undone? What has he done since he won the Super Bowl? We knew the year we got Jared Goff, it was a punt on the season. 60 million in dead cap. We jettisoned every big name we could afford to off of that roster. The biggest mistake we made. They didn't flex the game. We were always going to have the Sunday night game, game one. And I'm not as impressed with it. You can be impressed with it. Good for you. He won it with somebody else. I'm not happy. Alls I know is when Matt Stafford got traded to the Rams and he was sitting there watching the draft that morning and he saw that Brad Holmes turned in the pick for Penei Sewell at 7. He goes, those motherfuckers, and turned off his TV. It actually doesn't. From week 14 on is when games can be flexed. That's why all of them say TBD. Then we didn't flex this game. We were always scheduled with a primetime game week 1. My loyalties lie with the Lions. I'm a team first. I applauded it. It's been 8 p.m. ever since the schedule I got. Let me look. I'll go look at that schedule right now. A long time ago when that schedule came out. But that's fine. I hope we boo them again Sunday night. If I was there, I'd boo them again. I have no allegiance to people who leave the team. If you retire from the team, that's different. That's where I'm at. Probably. It is that time to do our sponsors and get off of here. I'm going to run a little late, though. It's time for FDB. Fuck the Bears. FTP. Fuck the Pack. Of course. Skull fuck. Put it in the chat. FTB, FDB, FTP, FTV, and FTCB for fuck the Cowboys too. That's coming soon. Last but not least, it's Brandon at the corner of South Grand Traverse and West African Road in Flint, Michigan. Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Used tires starting at $40 and up, depending on size and condition. And if you need new tires, please call 810-233-8230. Talk to George, Red, or myself to get your quote. Right. Fuck them all. Yes, Dwayne Keene. Technically, fans have been booing the opposition since the Coliseum was built. I love it. Great one. Dun, 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 dun. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. You know what was the best quote coming out of camp from a player? Taylor Decker said it best. And this is why, as a fan base, we might have to rethink how we feel about our defense. It was fun having a challenge against the D line this camp. I've never been challenged. Yes, the Romans were Lions fans. Did you not see them? The Romans loved the lions because they ate the opposing gladiators. Peace, love, and chicken grease, y'all. Taylor Decker saying that at the end of camp gives me the most hope about this D line. There has been Lions fans since ancient Greece. Yes, that's what we're saying. Oldest fans in natural history. They'd cheer for the gladiator that actually killed one to have the other one kill him. Lions were used in those fights, and crowds did cheer for the Lions 100%. Again, guys, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow at noon and tonight at 9 p.m. with the NFL Roundtable Talks when we do the pick'ems. Have a great day, everybody.